The Record Machine with your host, Jimmy Hall.
Hey baby, tell me what's your name. From the way you look and the way you dress, I can tell you ain't got no shame, and that's alright. I'm just a man. Say you're from the city where it all moves so fast. With your fancy cars and your diamond rings, you don't need a love to last, and that's alright. I'm just a man, yeah. So take me home tonight, like you know that you should. When you're ready to get to me, just give it to me good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Me, I'm just a rocker. Got much to say. Never did things by the rules, always did things my own way, and it's alright. That's the way I am. Anyway, father was a teacher, taught me how to live. Said son, you gotta be someone, not take more than you give, and it's alright. That's the way I am. Anyway, so take me home tonight. You know that you should. Ready to be better. Just give it to me good. 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 Little girl, I got a lot to learn. Gonna take you to my school and make you feel alright. I'm a man. You do me good. Give it to me good. Give it to me good. Give it to me good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome power country artist Gus Scott to the program.
James.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
What's up, dude? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Trixter formed in 83 in Jersey. By 89, you guys were off to Hollywood recording your debut album. Who was the guy that discovered you guys and got the ball rolling?
You know, it was a series of events. It wasn't just one thing, but the thing that kicked it into overdrive was a couple of guys that formed this company called Shark Entertainment. There's a guy by the name of Joel Weinshanger and Ken Mako, as in Mako Shark. So it was Ken Mako that saw us opening up for Skid Row at the Park Villa, otherwise known as On Stage in Staten Island, New York. And he went to, I think he was a roommate of Rob Affuso, the drummer from Skid Row. And he saw us open up. He said, oh, I got to talk to these guys. After the show, comes up, approaches us, says, guys, let's have a little talk. Nice. And little did we know, he was the protege of Peter Mensch, who is one of the top dogs at Q Prime Entertainment. They manage Metallica, Def Leppard, Queensryche, Tesla. I mean, their roster was ridiculous. They had a lot of power. They were really something else. And he basically, to make a long story short, he had a great interest. He really had a lot of belief in us. And him and his partner Joel presented us with a contract that said, "Listen, you need recording equipment, we got you. We're going to make new demos for you. Gus, you need brakes on your car, we got you taken care of. Steve, you need a new guitar amplifier, we got you. Anything you need, we'll take care of it. And if we don't have you signed to a major record deal in 12 months, you don't owe us a penny."
Wow.
So we were like, duh, okay. And aside from that, it wasn't a back-end screw job. They had a legitimate, very fair deal. I mean, this is a weird thing. Most guys get ripped off by their managers or something like that. You hear all those horror stories of, people getting the short end of the stick. We were very fortunate in that regard. We did not get ripped off in like that. It was just a rare instance that these guys were very fair guys. They did business the right way, and even to our benefit, more so probably than anybody could. So it was really a very fair deal. And 8 months after we met, we got signed to MCA Records. We had a bidding war between, I'm not going to say the companies, but, it was back and forth. And the process of making the new demos and shopping it to record labels took some time. But in the end, it was an 8-month journey from the time that we first met, pretty much. And we had a very firm deal with MCA Records. It was pretty wild. That's how it worked.
That's pretty cool,
so as far as as far as getting to that next level, that's really how it started.
Yeah, because you really, like, a lot of times you hear like horror stories about how people got ripped off and stuff,
It's amazing. I don't hear any good stories. I mean, like what happened to us, we were very, very fortunate. And it sounds crazy. It doesn't make for a great interview because, I think people thrive on that drama and all that crap. But no, we didn't. And, here's an even more thing that I don't think this has happened to anybody in the business. I never heard of this happening. It was primarily Joel Weinshanker that when we first got on the road, now technically, as a management deal stands, they take a typical percentage from what the band makes. Mm-hmm. And the management, Joel was so cool. He said, "You know what, guys? We're not going to take our percentage until your expenses are met." So now the idea of a manager being cool like that, I don't think that's ever happened ever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They had a legal right to be entitled to their percentage from $1, but they would not take their percentage until we met our expenses on the road. Now, let me tell you something, man. It is very rare. I don't think it's ever been. I never heard of it happening. So I can't tell you how much my hats go off to the Shark Entertainment. Those guys are certainly top notch.
Are those guys still around?
Yeah, they're around. Ken Mako's floating around, I believe, in the Central Jersey area. Joel Weinshanker is actually a CEO of a very big corporation that actually owns Graceland. So he's got a lot going on. He has, I guess, a few different lines of business. But, you give him a Google. He's out there.
That's cool. Now, Line of Fire was your first #1 hit, and Give It To Me Good was your first #1 hit video on MTV. Was #1 for 5 weeks on the Dial Up MTV Countdown and the Top 10 Countdown. Do you believe MTV played a huge part in your career early on?
Absolutely, yeah. And here's what's funny: there's different categories of where things chart, so to speak. Like even, let's just take Billboard for a second. There's the Billboard Hot 200, there's the country charts, the urban charts, the rock charts. It's kind of crazy how many different charts there are, how many different subclassifications of music there is. So, we've gone #1 in different places at different times. As far as MTV is concerned, yeah, Give It To Me Good was our first #1. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was #1 longer than 5 weeks, but whatever, if you're #1 for one day, that's pretty damn cool.
That's a pretty good achievement, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it was a dream come true. I mean, we couldn't believe it when it was happening. And let me tell you, getting on MTV wasn't the easiest thing either. You don't just get a record deal, get signed, throw your video, and they start playing. It doesn't work that way. When we first started, we were doing very well with Line of Fire. And Line of Fire was being promoted to a lot of album-oriented rock stations, AOR stations, or sometimes what people refer to as P2s and P3s. That's a certain certain classification of rock, and we were knocking it out, doing fantastic. Z-Rock was something very big back then. That was a syndicated station. They had, I don't know, 20 locations across the country. And this was before satellite. So you could be on one Z-Rock and you're on all of them, you know? So the idea, at least back in the early 90s, to be on that kind of broadcast frequency was pretty big, you know what I mean? That's the way it was at the time. So when we had Line of Fire, I went number one back then on Z-Rock. That was a big thing. That was really cool. But MTV wanted to see what major radio in different markets were doing. So they said, hey, what's Z100 in New York doing? What's going on with LA pirate radio? And we were not on those stations yet. You know what I mean? We were only in the rock one. So MTV held off on playing our videos. So I'm going, oh, damn it. You know, so we had to go to the radio stations and we go, hey, you know, we're doing really good at those P2s, P3 stations. And yeah, Z100 New York, they're a P1. But, you know, they'd say, well, I see you're doing well, guys. What's MTV doing with the song? We're like, God damn it. You know, so it wasn't just mailing the video and they start playing it. We had to really campaign to get more market share, to get added at more stations. And then MTV gave us a shot. They put us on what they refer to as smash or trash. If they play the video, and then people call in. If you like it, you dial this one number, say it's a smash. If they didn't like it, they call this other number and they trash it. Sucks, you know? So, you know, now the thing that's weird, your career could be over in a 24-hour period. You know what I mean? So you take somewhat of a risk, I guess. But we were very fortunate. We smashed around 84% or something like that. So that's when they put us into medium rotation. And, hey, man, you know, that means they get a place every once in a while on MTV. That's great, you know?
I think that's pretty damn awesome. You guys, which I also read this interesting fact, you guys actually have a song called One Mo Time. One Mo Time in the Richard Grieco movie, If Looks Could Kill, and Edgar Winter is a guest player on that, correct?
Yes. I wasn't actually there for the session. It was Steve and Pete that really did it, and they threw the Trixter name on it for recognition's sake. But yeah, there was a song on the soundtrack, and Edgar Winter came in and did a sax solo, and he knocked it out of the park. He really did well.
So those guys must have been thrilled to have a guy like him in the studio, right?
Oh, dude, it's you know, come on, right? To brush elbows with a classic cat. I mean, how awesome must that have been? It really, it's really something, That's
pretty cool, man. You guys also did MTV Spring Break, and during that time, the album went gold, and then you guys went back home to New Jersey to play in front of your hometown crowd, and you got presented your gold records there. That must have been pretty damn cool, huh?
Dude, let me tell you something. Between late 90s and through 91, it was beyond a dream come true. We did a hell of a lot. And just the sheer volume of shows. In a 13-month period, we did something like 321 shows. Now, that's, you know, think about how many days out of the year you actually go to work. I mean, we worked, man. You know? But to us, it was fun. You know what I mean? But we're literally in a new place just about every day. I should say every day. Every once in a while, we would have like let's say 2 shows in a row because it was sold out or something like that. So we were somewhere for a couple of days. We rarely had a day off. We would do the arenas with a big act, and that would be 4 days a week. And the other 3 days a week, we'd be doing club or theaters on our own, you know? So we were constantly moving. We played, I think we once played, I'm trying to think, 28 shows in a row, you know, something like that. I mean, the idea of playing every day a new place and just keeping it moving, that's, you know, it was a dream come true, but at the same time, yeah, it was work. It really was. I hate to say that, you know, but you know, if it's different when you're 21 years old doing it versus 51.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? So back then, thank God we were young, you know, but yeah, dude, it was a dream come true. It was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah. What's it like when you hear that you're, you know, doing a show with like Kiss or Skid Row or Warrant and Firehouse? Like, what's it like, you know, seeing your name up there and then actually going out there and performing with these guys?
You know, it's beyond what, you know, you dream about this sort of thing. You know, when you actually do it, it's I don't even know if I have the words for it. I really don't. And you know what? At the same time, I think you also try to keep your head on straight. You don't let. I think David Lee Roth said it best. Said it best. It's okay to put your head in the clouds as long as you keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the act of keeping our feet on the ground, we were young and we were very concerned. I think a lot of things were happening for us, and we were getting. It's very easy for a younger guy to get carried away. So all of our crew guys, they were our friends, and we were all tight. So I think we all kept an eye on everyone. We never walked around like we were the stuff. You know what I mean? Right. It was like we were all, as far as the band and the crew, we were all equal. And it was, that's the way we treated each other. We were all cool. So we didn't, even though for a moment you start thinking of some wild stuff, it was your guys who you have around you that keep you down on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, of course, it's the greatest thing in the world. The magazines, playing alongside Kiss, things like that, having the best year of 91. We had with Warrant and Firehouse, that Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour. It was the #1 tour of the year. That was the kind of thing. Wow, what a cool tour! But we didn't think it would be that big. I mean, when we first got on, it was like we were playing some big joints, and that's cool. But then we really started playing some big plays, and we added more dates, and we were like, "Holy crap, what's going on here?" And then pay-per-view called. We did the biggest pay-per-view special of the year. Now that's when things go like, Jesus, what the hell are we doing?
Now, was that the biggest thing that you ever did? Was having your own pay-per-view? You think, as far as touring wise?
I don't know. I guess it was probably.
I mean, how many guys can say they had their own pay-per-view?
I guess I don't look at it that way. I look at it more like we had the opportunity to play. I would rather play, opening for Kiss, let's say, than have a pay-per-view special. But realistically, it's probably smarter to have a pay-per-view special.
Now, do you get a cut of that?
We got compensated, yes.
So that's a good thing.
Exactly. I'm not complaining. Yeah, I'm not complaining at all. But it wasn't just about the money, man. It was about doing the gig, I mean, playing shows that, so I guess when I sit back and I think about it strategically, yeah, pay-per-view thing was an amazing, awesome accomplishment, but which was cool, but just the act of playing, that's what really did it for me, So to get on a tour, I remember getting the phone call to go on the Kiss tour. That was one of the biggest days of my life. I couldn't believe it. I freaking dropped to my knees and thanked God on my front lawn, my shirt off, and cars were going by beeping. It was out of control. It was just so amazing. So I guess things like that stick out of my mind more than a pay-per-view special. But yeah, and I got to tell you, if you ever seen it, the pay-per-view special, it came out pretty good.
Yeah, I remember watching it back in the day. Mm-hmm. I watched it over.
They got it on YouTube. You go on there now. You could just punch up Trixter pay-per-view or Blood, Sweat, and Beers pay-per-view, something like that. You'll see it. There's Firehouse performance, our performance, and Warren's performance, and at the end we all come on out. We do that song together, Fight for Your Right to Party. It was amazing. It was just an amazing time. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's what I remember more than just a paycheck from pay-per-view. I remember the times that we spent together out on the road, how we conquered the world, and that was really something amazing.
What was the most memorable moment you've had on the road? Like, what concert, what band did you guys play with that sticks out in your mind that was like, wow, this is like the greatest moment?
It's funny. It's hard to just define one. There, for instance, when we did the World Amphitheater in Chicago, 33,000 people sold out. I remember that moment, holding our arms up in the air when we all jammed together on that Blood and Sweat and Beers tour. And we said, how the hell did we sell out 33,000 seats? We rolled in the day before, and I remember going to a bar in the hotel, and there's some business suit dudes in there, and they see us when we roll in. It's kind of an affair, between the buses, the trucks, and security and stuff. Right. So when we hit the bar, they see who we are, and go, "Oh, you guys playing the World Amphitheater tomorrow?" Yeah. How you doing? Because how's it selling? I don't think it's sold out. We're like, whatever. We don't know, And the next day we sold it out. So the idea that it exceeded our own expectations by that's such a memorable moment to me for some reason. You know what I mean? But if there's any one memorable moment more so than anything, that was the homecoming at the Meadowlands Arena, particularly the first time when we played the Meadowlands, and I believe it was April '91, and we got our gold records at the Meadowlands Arena, which was it was beyond a dream come true. And to bring it back to the home crowd and the family and everything, you know, it was a very, very special time. And we were riding such a wave, but you know what? You barely have a time to even sit back and enjoy it because we had a gig the next night. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, hey, you know what I mean? That's it. So you rock that night, you party, you get the ass back on the bus because we got to go.
Do you remember where you went after that? Was it Philly?
I believe it was Philly or I don't,
maybe?
I can't remember. It was either Philly or Veterans Memorial Coliseum. No, the
Nassau Coliseum.
Thank you. That's it.
Here's a question that I want to ask.
Go, baby.
How did you feel when bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, etc. came on the scene? Were you concerned about what it meant for hair metal?
You know, there were some concerns. There were some flags that went up before we even learned who these people were. Remember I told you how proud we were standing on the stage, 33,000 people in Chicago. The other side of that I didn't tell you about was, yeah, it was amazing to do that. But the other side was, gee, how am I standing in front of 33,000 people going crazy, but we can't they kicked us off MTV.
Right.
How the hell did that happen? And it wasn't just Trixter. It was all the bands in the genre got whacked.
Of course.
You know, got basically chopped. So that was the precursor. That was number one. I said that was what we were scratching our heads going, listen, we're on the biggest tour of the year. Everybody's digging it. We're selling records. Everything's wonderful. And MTV just cut us. So what the hell's going on? So that was even before. That was summer of '91.
Right.
So I don't know when those guys actually just came out. It basically wasn't even on my radar, I guess, you know, whether I was just so focused on what we were doing. But, you know, I don't think they were really popping yet. And even when they first did come out, it wasn't my style of music, to be honest with you. So it really didn't affect me until when I saw they were playing more and they started gaining ground and that they were falling in favor on MTV and we were falling out of favor on MTV. That's when it started to get on my radar. You know, we saw that MTV was leading the change with the new decade, that what was commercial became alternative and what was alternative was becoming commercial. And that change was fueled by decision made at MTV. They led the charge on it, and they wanted to dictate what was happening. They had the power to do it. They knew exactly what they were doing from the first video they played. Video killed the radio star. And they were taking control of what was going to happen. That was the Spotify back then. You know what I mean?
Right.
The MTV was it. They took it away from radio. They took it away from everything. They were the commanding force. And how they got to where they're at now, and they are so far from that, is quite interesting to me. There's probably something I don't understand about it. But then now they're doing full programming. I don't think they play videos anymore. How does MTV not even play videos?
They don't. They play a lot of like 16 and Pregnant and stuff like that. You know, reality shows.
16 and Pregnant.
Yeah, you never heard of that?
No, but I understand what you're saying. You know, it's funny and it's not funny. But is there more money for them in that kind of programming? Is that how it works? I mean, I'm guessing yes. But again, that they used to be the driving force in music. Now they so are not.
Right.
You know, I find that very interesting. And again, I don't know the finer points behind that whole story or how that change came to fruition, but that is the reality. And at least we hit at a time that was really wonderful to us, and that at the same time, well, shortly thereafter became horrible for us. You know, it was really weird to see that change.
Do you feel that musicians of your era were not afforded the same artistic freedom as the grunge artists?
I don't know if I subscribe to that. I mean, there's artistic freedom. I mean, come on, there was some great music that came out in the 80s and 90s. So, anybody, if something were great, record companies got behind it and, they pushed it and bing bang. I think the artistic freedom was certainly there. It was different. The era changed, and what was allowed during that time, when I say allowed, what MTV embraced, what radio embraced. And let's get real, MTV fueled the change and radio followed suit. Right. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I think there was a lot more that could have seen the light that did not, at least from the hairband genre, But that's how it worked with the trends, man. If you hit it in the early 90s, you weren't going to last too long.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of bummed out when that all came out because I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't a big fan of Nirvana. I I liked Soundgarden and I liked STP, but I was not a fan of Nirvana. I just wasn't.
I know what you mean. I remember in 1993, I went to the NAMM show in L.A., the National Association of Music Merchants, big music convention every year in Anaheim. And I met the drummer from Pearl Jam. And I was not a Pearl Jam fan. I didn't like the whole thing. If anything, of course, we kind of hated each other. Right. I didn't like that scene because they just knocked me out, Right. But we had a mutual friend introduced us, and we went for a couple drinks. And I got to tell you, it was Dave Abergees, super guy, a great drummer, a really nice guy. But honestly, I didn't listen to a lot of stuff. I knew a couple of tunes, that's about it. I thought Even Flow was a real good tune, and the way the drums are on it were really smooth and popping, great groove. But he was a really nice guy. We really found it interesting. Within a very short period of time, Trixter came up, we kicked butt, got our butts kicked, and then Pearl Jam, who couldn't get arrested, they finally got their opportunity to go on. So it was interesting talking to him from such the opposite perspective. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was starting to ride high where I was falling down, and it was interesting to really, again, first of all, he was a great guy. With another dude, it might have been a different conversation or a fist fight, but he was really cool, and just to talk about that was very interesting. And at the time, it was all new. We went from like, what the hell is happening, to like, oh, now we're starting to see what's going on here. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I got to tell you, dude, when it's happening, you're like, how is that possible? Like I said, we were selling out, we were kicking ass. Now, how the hell wouldn't MTV play your riff? You're what's going on? How does somebody not play you?
It's crazy, right?
It was great. It didn't make, and not even that. Our third video came out, Surrender. It went number 1 in 2 days on MTV, and then we got cut at number 1. So, like, how does that happen? How do you have a number 1 video and all of a sudden the next day it's not on MTV? It's like, did somebody commit a murder or something? What happened? And that's what we couldn't understand. It didn't make any sense.
Nope.
Until you start to see what came afterwards. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, anyway, it's weird to.
I know it's a touchy subject, right? But I wanted your opinion.
But that's reality, and I think you don't want to erase that. It's interesting to keep that history so you can look forward and see what maybe happened. History has a tendency to repeat itself, and if you wipe out that stuff, this sort of thing is going to keep happening again and again. So I think it's important that people do really understand what happened and how that change was dictated, and I think about it in life also. Happens in many, many areas, not just music. So, hey, it happened, and I think we should all take note because it was a very substantial change.
Exactly. When did you decide to step out from behind the kit and be a front man? And do you think being able to play multi instruments made it easier for you to do that?
I remember I don't remember the first time I did it, but it was during 1991. It all started because we played so many shows, and we were playing. We had 2 set lists we alternated between, but at the end of the day, during the course of a week, we only played a small group of songs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So once you do a couple hundred shows, you're like, all right, guys, we gotta keep it fresh. What are we gonna do here? So we came up with this stupid idea where we would all switch instruments and play a song. And it was like Fight for Your Right to Party, or we did a couple different, but primarily it was Fight for Your Right to Party was the biggest one. So PJ played drums, Steve played bass, Pete played guitar, and I was the singer. Well, screamer, whatever. Right. I wasn't really singing too well, but it was fun. And I got to tell you, to do it in front of big audiences and stuff like that, it was amazing. It was really cool. It was fun. And I don't think any band has ever done that before, so we did it as a goof, and the fans got off on it. It was really cool. And I got to tell you, I loved it for one song, but thinking about it now, it's an awkward thing to be out front with nothing in front of you, no drums, no guitar, just singing away. You're very exposed. And I was so not used to that. And again, it's like a novelty for one song, but if you're going to be a full-time front person, coming from a drummer's perspective, that's a weird thing, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's something, every time I think about going to play a show, I think about getting my stick, get my hands wrapped up. Okay, let's go. And I start slamming. I freaking love it. To not have something to slam on, I'm a little little lost. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's just a very different dynamic. You're exposed, and the feeling is a lot different. So becoming this frontman thing, it's different. It's weird, but you know what? It's really cool. And to explore those differences, now I have opportunity to really, I was a crazy drummer, I guess, and I was visible. But now when you're out front and leading the pack, it's a different thing. I loved being a backup guy. I didn't need to lead the pack, so to speak, and I had my opportunities to shine, and that was fine. I didn't need more than that. I didn't want more than that. I didn't want to become a front man. I ended up doing this because I had nothing else to do.
So in a sense, maybe grunge forced you to come out of your shell and be your own.
Let me tell you something, buddy. That's not a ridiculous thought. Maybe it's all well and good for a reason. Maybe.
Things happen. Things happen for a reason. I mean, you had to have known that you had this power country personality inside you that was going to come out. I mean, you said you describe yourself as power country, and I certainly hear it in the single "With You." Can you talk about that song a little bit? Sure.
This whole country thing. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey. I'm not trying to pass myself off as some Southern boy. I am not. I'm Yankee. Unfortunately, whatever. That's the truth. I grew up, for 20 some odd years in Jersey. So the country thing started while we were on the road in 1990. All the bus drivers that we had, everybody's from the South. And I was always the last guy up on the bus. I didn't sleep very much at all. So at night, the only guy left that was up was the bus driver. He was driving, So I would go up front, hang out with the bus driver. And every night, the bus drivers would be playing this country music. And I knew what country sounded like, but I didn't really know what the heck, what song was what. If the number one country song hit me in the face, I probably wouldn't know it, Mm-hmm. So I ended up all those hours sitting and talking and hanging out on the road. I would listen to country, and I started to recognize the artists. I knew the difference between Crystal Gayle and Reba McEntire. So it was kind of cool, and I was digging it. It was such a different world that I so had no exposure to, and I really embraced it. I thought that was a cool thing, man. So I guess that's where it started. This whole thing, and then I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Been here about 5 years now. So the attitude out here is a little tougher in the dirt. You know what I mean? It's not just a power. Yeah. So there's like an edge to it. That's where that power country comes in. I'm kind of a rock dude, and I don't like to do things necessarily in a softy poof way. If I'm going to do something, I want to kick it in the ass. So, I guess that's where the whole power country thing came from. As far as the song With You, that was the first song I actually felt really strong about as far as putting pen to paper and really trying to get my feelings out. And I did it because I couldn't help not doing. And that was something that it was it was rough. The guys used to make fun of me. Every time I wrote a song, I'd bring it down and say, guys, check it out. And they'd start laughing their asses off. And I go, what the hell is so funny? I said, I really tried to write a good song. And they pointed out, like, when they read it, it sounds hokey and it was really like a comedy. And I didn't mean for it to come out that way. Right. So I guess this was the first time I had a real bona fide song. And it was pretty cool. And I really felt very proud. And I just wrote it for this one young lady that I really felt very, very strong about. And I don't know. I didn't plan on releasing it as a single and all that, but I guess we stopped seeing each other, and I said, well, I have this song.
Might as well use it, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess I put it out, and then it got a lot of attention. There was a great deal of press. There was a lot of notoriety. The station started playing it. I said, well, if that's what's going to happen, let's just roll that snowball down the mountain.
Yeah, might as well.
Right. So that's how it started. But again, that happened because I had nothing else going on. I had a break and I had nothing to do. So that's where this whole project came up. And then it turned into this thing, and then the press and all that stuff. And now I'm just like, well, shoot, let's have some fun with this, man. And I've just been having fun ever since. And it was the 30th anniversary of Trixter's first single, Give It To Me Good. And I got to tell you, man, it just felt more right than anything. And put a little power country edge on it, man. That was some fun stuff.
Yeah, you rearranged that song. Did you always envision that song as being a possible country song? Because when I hear your version of it, I mean, you would never known that was a rock song. Like that's how good the transition is.
Well, I appreciate it. I'll be honest with you. I always thought some country artist should remake it. You know, I'm surprised nobody did it before now. But I said, well, no one's done it yet, so shoot, I'm going to do it. But I didn't think about it until maybe the past year, maybe a year and a half, because it was the 30th anniversary creeping up. I'm like, I started those wheels turning in my head. But no, I never really thought about doing it myself. I never really thought about being a solo artist or a singer. I did it when I did that first song with you. I had a couple of vocalists in the back waiting because I didn't know how my voice was going to sound. I never sang a song before.
Okay.
I never really sang a real cut. I did backgrounds, but I never sang lead vocal. So I was like, oh my God, what if my voice sounds like crap? So I had Pete Lauren. He said he would do it, singer from Trixter. Right. And then I had my buddy Bobby Sisk from Drop Diesel here in Phoenix. He said he would do it if I need somebody. So I said, good. But I did the first day of vocals, and I listened back. I was like, oh my God, it sounds great. I love it. Until I did that first day, I didn't know what it was going to sound like. I really didn't. So, again, it was not about me. I wanted to do the project, but I didn't want to be this guy, I like playing drums. So things are changing. It's weird.
Well, you seem pretty comfortable. I mean, you look and sound the part. I mean, most people, in my opinion, who maybe not necessarily know who Trixter is, they would probably just think, wow, this guy's, this Gus Scott, he's a great, country artist.
Well, believe me, I appreciate it. And this whole thing is still in its infancy. I mean, here's something that really bothers me. When Give It To Me Good came out, I had plans to shoot a video in April, and it was going to be shot at the Arizona Bike. And let me tell you something, what an amazing setup I had for this thing. It was huge. And when Bike Week got canceled, and that really screwed me a little.
I bet.
So everything is not kind of on hold because we can't do anything live. I need to do a live show. I need to film the live video, and I can't see it any other way. Maybe I'm being stupid about it, but I feel very strongly that the production I have is somewhat unique. It is not just 4 or 5 guys in a band playing like a regular band. This is a real production. This is really something, and it's got to be shown visually. And that would launch to really start playing live. And unfortunately, Elton John can't even get a gig right now. So,
I know, man.
Gus Scott goes, he's just playing the waiting game. And I'm curious to see what the hell happens here because we need some live music, bro. This is stupid.
Now, you have the 2 singles out right now. Do you have enough songs where you're going to record a full-length CD and release that at some point?
I could, and but I'm very hesitant because, particularly with the way things are today, the manner in which music is promoted, the manner in which it's played, back in the old days, getting an album was an amazing thing. Today, singles are released and you can milk a single for a long time. So the idea of blowing out one single off a whole record and the rest of the record doesn't get the attention, that isn't necessarily the smartest idea to me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I would discuss it with some other people. But, I have some material to make a record. Yeah. And I'm hesitant, and right now I hate to release more music without going out playing live. That's the whole, I like recording, making stuff. That's nice. It's great. And I'm proud. It's wonderful. But the real thing, I want to play live, dude. If this were just a recording man's job, I probably wouldn't be interested in it. I want to play.
Now,
and I think the love you get from people and the love you bring to people is something very, very special. And that's why I got into this,
Before the coronavirus hit, how many shows were you doing, a year?
Well, with Trixter, not a lot.
No, by yourself, I mean.
Oh, no, I haven't done them. I haven't done them. This whole thing has started. I'm telling you, it's only been, I'm trying to, when the hell did, I think it's only been less than a year since With You came out. So, it's like, this is all new.
Oh, okay.
This is all new, my friend. Again, I didn't even plan on doing it. But, it's getting a lot of attention, which is a beautiful thing, and I intend to take every opportunity. So.
I would if I were you. I have a friend, I have a friend, Danny Roberts. He's a country artist, actually lives in Arizona, too.
He's kicking ass out here, too, man.
Oh, you friends with him?
On the online radio stuff. He's got a lot going on, yeah.
You guys should hook up. I'm good friends with him. He's a good songwriter, actually.
I'm going to reach out to him on Facebook for sure.
You should tell him that we talk to each other. He has a great guitar player too, named Jimmy Powers. The guy's phenomenal. He plays all the guitars on his songs.
I heard a couple of his tracks. He sounds real good. He sounds real good. And but he sounds like a Southern boy. That's what it sounds like to me.
Now, do you have a website you want to promote?
Sure. Have it for anything. Mark Gus Scott. It's just markgusscott.com, and that has links to all my social media. It's got press. It's got a little store on there. And keeps you posted all the news coming up and stuff like that. But yeah, that's probably the best place to go for everything Mark Gus Scott. It's markgusscott.com.
Pretty cool. Any final thoughts before we go, buddy?
I'll tell you, I'm just curious to see where things go from here. It's just such a weird damn thing, and how the whole industry now is on hold.
I know.
It's like, damn, people, this is what I live for. This is what I've been living for. And what do you do when that's not there? That's a sad thing. And I don't want, maybe a part of me is reluctant. I don't want to adapt and just play online music and cut tracks. I want to freaking play a damn live show.
I bet.
That's why I got into doing this. Hey, look, I like studio. It's cool. And I love making tracks, and bringing great music to life. It's an amazing process. However, it is so much more exponentially amazing to freaking play live. And that's what I want to do, man. And I got some crazy ideas here, and I don't need people to see them. So we'll see how things materialize.
That's going to be cool, man. Well, I look forward to hearing more about you, man, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
James, I really appreciate everything, my friend. Thank you for, keeping it alive and, try to get us through this rough spell, man. Record Machine Show, we need more like you. That's for sure.
All right, man. You stay safe, and we'll talk soon, all right?
James, thanks so much for everything, bro.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Come with me and run away. Broken heart has made me see just how much love means to me. And I know your touch will make me whole again, and I'll be strong for you. But until then, bring me to my knees. And I wait for you. And I wait for you. Is there something I can say to bring back yesterday? Let the feeling take you away like a giant tidal wave. Nothing else I wanna do. I just wanna be with you. I 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 wanna be with you. Come with me. I wanna be with you. With you. Believe in every word I say, love of my life in every way. The pain it grows stronger, can't you see? Come with me and run away. Is there something I can say? Don't you bring back yesterday? Let the feeling take you to where me go. Baby, let me hear you say, I just wanna be with you. I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you. been so long, things are still the same. A broken heart, my love won't take. Wishing I were looking into your eyes and making love with you. I fantasize. In the middle of the night, I still call out.